Vida Cruz-Borja's short fiction and essays have been published in fantasy and science fiction, Strange Horizons, Podcastle, Expanded Horizons, and various anthologies, and her work has won the Ignite Award. Her latest short story collections are Beyond the Line of Trees and Song of the Mango and other new myths. Vida, it's yours.
Hi, everyone. Good morning from my side of the world, which is the Philippines. I am going to be reading tonight from my novelette called Chosen Mother, which you can find in this book. And the premise is there's a woman who is dealing with motherhood, womanhood, and adulthood, and she's also the mother of a chosen one. And at this point in the story that I'm reading to you, it's been 10 years since she started dealing with this. And I decided to read from the middle because it contextualizes a lot of what went before and what's coming after. And this story is a love letter to Terry Pratchett and to Diana Wynne Jones's Tough Guide to Fantasyland. So, here we go. There was a reason Delena had burned through more than a dozen dream journals in the 10 years since she joined the circus. According to the history, all the mothers of chosen ones dreamed at least once in their lives. As far as Delena was concerned on the subject of what the mothers of chosen ones were supposed to have, do, and be, the history could go toss itself in a fire. Though she had no idea how to tell if she was having a dream or the dream, she was determined to grab the dream by the horns and make it sit the fuck down. And after a decade of playing hard to get, the dream finally came to her on the night of Bob's 10th birthday. The final battle raged under a sky as violet as a bruise and as violent as a snake lunging at prey, with a forest of spires, turrets, and towers looming in the distance. A pretty standard issue Dark Lord's lair, according to the history's descriptions. And all around her, the humdrum motions of war. Arrow rains, heads flying, monsters mowing down hapless men, mages sending up magical flares. She'd seen the Dark Lord as well. 1 minute an obsidian snake with amethyst eyes, another a colossal man in spiked obsidian armor. His sinister laugh made her roll her eyes. Most of the time, however, she kept her sights on a boy with dusky eyes and skin just a few shades lighter than hers, enough to pass off as tanned, and from whose feet spread a carpet of greenest grass. He cut down minions with a sword and led cavalry charge after cavalry charge. She couldn't reconcile him with the little boy whom she'd tried to mollify after his disastrous birthday party hours ago, while infernal white crow shit dripped from his forehead and down reddened cheeks. "Mom," he'd wailed, "this is the worst birthday ever." "Did you have to name him Bob? Most call him Chosen One now." Delena whirled in the dulcet voice's direction and came face to face with the god of spring, her son's father, perched on a boulder. She remembered why she couldn't disdain his flirtations the night Bob was conceived. The effect of his handsome face and broad shoulders and tapering waist had on her loins was unstoppable, explosive, and highly inconvenient, like a case of dysentery. A far cry from the safe little tingles she'd gotten from Adrian, whom she realized that she now loved. She never thought that she'd see this bastard again. Malandorn patted a spot next to him. Baby's breath emerged. He arranged them in a bouquet and held it out to her. Her traitorous feet brought her a few steps closer before she realized it. In defiance, she rooted herself to where she stood. She accepted the bouquet, however. Any fancier name would have been a magnet for bullies and destinies, she said. Yet despite his simple name, his destiny is shat all over his birthday party, Malandorn pointed out. Delena planted her hands on her hips, mostly to steady herself. "And you won't help him throughout all this?" "Sugar, I've always been helping him," Malandorn grinned suggestively. She stamped a foot to bolster her weakening knees. "Don't you sugar me?" "No? I prefer you with honey anyway," Malandorn said with a slick grin. And to make sure she had no time to react, he added, "By the way, being found by fell crows is the perfect opportunity to make Bob start training at the Invisible Wizard School. The history says that the deaths of parents are what push chosen ones to have adventures," Delena said in a flat voice. Oh, give me a moment. My computer is low on battery. Okay. She said in a flat voice. "Maybe you weren't listening then, but I think I made it clear the last time I died that I like living. And besides, where would I go? The circus has been literally everywhere on the map." "Then go off map." Malandorn chewed a stem of baby's breath, bored. "How do you feel about sea monsters?" Delena paused, perplexed. "I have never met one I could form an opinion on." "Well, sugar, you've never been off the continent, right?" Malandorn released the stem from his teeth, which made Delena note his plump, glistening lips. She could have kicked herself. "The mermaid you work with had a daughter with a ship captain, whose galleon docks at the bay beyond the forest you've stopped at, about this time every year. If you promise the Cyclops his freedom, he will take Bob to the school after your escape and accidental separation, and don't worry, invisibility doesn't work on Cyclopses. He'll find the school. See, easy, right? You get to travel unencumbered again, just fake your death. Unless..." Malandorn tilted his head and beamed infuriatingly at her. "Are you worried about Bob?" She glared at him. "Please, I'm as worried about him as I'm worried about you." "Delena," he said, and she cursed how her name on his lips sounded like an invitation to bed. "Do you know why I chose you to mother my child?" "Because I'm such an exotic color?" was her wry attempt at regaining her dignity. That helped, but no. Malandorn slid off the boulder and caressed her cheek with his thumb, soft where Adrian's touch had been calloused. She forgot how to breathe. "You're resourceful and determined. The night we met, a bunch of drunkards harassed the other barmaids to tears. Before I could intervene, you pretended you'd show those barbarians a good time by the stables and then sicked your pony on them. Her name is Snowflake, and right now she's an ostrich because your son cannot put things back where they belong," said Delena. Malandorn was so close now. Maintaining a firm stance was quickly becoming a losing battle. She need only remember her damn knees, their strength at gelatin levels. She continued, "So, wait, you chose me to bear the chosen one because I sicked a rabid pony on some drunkards?" "No." Malandorn's breath was on her lips. His other hand hovered just above her collarbone. "I chose you because I liked your mind before I ever liked the rest of you." Delena's loins were screaming, "Take me, ravage me, do whatever you want with me, you goddamn tease." Her common sense, however, calmly opined that indeed, Malandorn had always looked after Bob with very little thought for her. Adrian, meanwhile, had treated her as if he were always thinking of her. Instead of their lips meeting, her knee bade his groin hello. And that's the end of the excerpt.